My stepbrother called me just adopted and forced me to be his servant because I wasn't real family, so I revealed everything at his college celebration dinner. My mom adopted me when I was 7 after my birth parents died in an accident. She was my aunt actually, my birth mom's sister, but she always said I was her daughter from the moment she signed those papers. Life was great for 8 years, just me and mom in our little townhouse. She worked as a pharmacy tech and I was a straight A student planning for college. Then mom met Frank at her book club and everything changed. Frank seemed nice enough and his son Colin was only a year older than me at 16. Mom was so happy and I wanted that for her after everything she'd done for me. They got married quick, within 6 months, and Frank and Colin moved in. First week was fine, everyone being polite and figuring out the new dynamic. Colin seemed cool at first. We even played video games together. Then mom and Frank went on a weekend trip for their 1-month anniversary and left us alone. That's when Colin showed his real face. The second their car left the driveway, Colin told me to make him breakfast. I laughed and said he could make his own. That's when he said it. I was just adopted, not real family, so I needed to earn my place by being useful. He said his dad married my mom and that made this his house now. I was just lucky they let me stay. I told him he was insane and mom was my legal mother. He said legal wasn't blood and everyone knew adopted kids were basically foster kids with better PR. That weekend he left his dishes everywhere expecting me to clean them. Threw his laundry in my room saying it was my job now. Ate all the food I'd bought with my part-time job money and said I should be grateful he even acknowledged me. When mom and Frank came back, Colin acted normal and I didn't want to ruin mom's happiness, so I stayed quiet. Big mistake. It got worse every time they were gone. Colin would invite friends over and introduce me as the adopted one who did chores for them. His friend Jake asked if I was like a maid, and Colin said exactly like that but free. They'd trash the living room and Colin would tell me to clean it before the parents got home, or he'd tell Frank I'd thrown the party. He started taking money from my wallet saying adopted kids should contribute to the real family's expenses. When I got my first college acceptance letter, Colin ripped it up saying I shouldn't waste their money on college when I could work and pay rent to the real son. I taped it back together and hid my other letters. The worst was when he started telling people at school. Spread rumors that I was a charity case mom took in for the tax benefits, said I had to do whatever he said at home or they'd send me back to foster care. Some kids actually believed him and started treating me like I was some tragic orphan instead of the girl they'd known for years. Teachers began asking if everything was okay at home. Colin would also eat my labeled food, use my homework to copy, take my phone charger, my headphones, anything he wanted because he said real family shared and I wasn't real family, so I could only give, not take. He'd walk into my room without knocking saying privacy was for family members. Mom noticed I was unhappy, but Colin would jump in saying I was having a hard time adjusting to not being an only child anymore. Frank would nod and say I'd get used to sharing attention. I started planning. First, I researched inheritance law in our state, found out that adopted children had the exact same legal rights as biological children. Then I learned about property ownership and discovered mom had owned our townhouse before marriage. It was separate property, not marital property. Frank had no claim to it. Colin definitely didn't. Next, I started recording everything on my phone. Colin ordering me around, calling me fake family, saying I should be grateful they didn't put me in foster care. Got weeks of footage including him stealing from my wallet and going through my things. Then I waited for the perfect moment. It came when Colin got accepted to his dream college, same one where his girlfriend was going. He was bragging to everyone, posting everywhere about it, his whole future planned out. That night at dinner, he announced his acceptance, and Frank started talking about how proud he was of his son. Colin said it was good to have a real member of the family achieving something since adopted kids usually ended up nowhere. Mom froze. Frank asked what he meant. That's when I played the recordings, all of them. Colin's voice filling the dining room talking about how I wasn't real family, how I should be their servant, how adoption was just fancy foster care. Mom's face went from shock to rage. Full story on channel, link below.